Welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about helping your veterinary practice attract, engage, and retain clients. Broadcasting a new podcast every Monday from sunny Southern California, here's your host, Brandon Bashirs.
Hey there, everybody. How's it going? This is Brandon from the Veterinary Marketing Podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we're going to be talking all about Facebook. Specifically, is it worth your time? Should you be working on this? I'm going to call it the Facebook Apocalypse Survival Guide. I know that sounds dramatic, but there's been a ton of changes. It feels like the sky is falling sometimes. And I keep seeing people say, should I even be working on Facebook? And I think that the answer is yes. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, from the stuff that you're probably seeing in the news, the data breaches that have happened, how that affects the ad platform. We're going to talk about what I think is going to happen in the future to the ad platform, what you should expect, and when you combine problems that are going to happen with the ad platform to the problems that are happening with organic reach going away, we're going to talk about just really how to grow your page, how to thrive in this landscape right now that's going on. So I think it's going to be a great episode. We're going to have tons of really actionable information, so you want to make sure and listen all the way through. If you have any questions, comments, need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can send me a message on my Facebook page, or if you haven't done so already, be sure to sign up for the Facebook marketing group, Veterinary Marketing Nerds. If you go to facebook.com/groups/the Veterinary Marketing Nerds, you can sign up there. It's a great group with a bunch of really smart people, and if you have questions or need help with anything, it's a great place to get some collaboration. All right, a few more things before we begin. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe in iTunes or in Google Play. And if you could do me a massive favor, if you enjoy this podcast, please be sure to leave me an honest review. I would really appreciate it. I'd also like to mention that this episode is being sponsored by usedvetequipment.com. Head on over to usedvetequipment.com. It's a website that was created and founded by Brad Haven. It's been on the internet for 5 years now. And what Used Vet Equipment does is it brings buyers and sellers together. So do you have any used equipment in your storage room that you want to sell? Are you looking to save money by buying used? They have everything from cages and kennels to x-rays, ultrasounds, surgery and laser equipment, laboratory equipment from IDEX or Baxis. They have tables, tubs, sinks, and tons of other miscellaneous items. So if you're looking to buy or sell, you should head on over to usedvetequipment.com. It's pretty much like the eBay for vets. The website works great, and you can sell your equipment quickly. There's tons of testimonials on usedvetequipment.com, so you can head on over there and check that out. And if you have any questions or need help with anything, Brad is a really nice and helpful guy. So go to usedvetequipment.com, check it out, and let Brad know you heard about it from the podcast. All right. So today, Facebook and the Facebook apocalypse that has been happening. So if you have been living under a rock, there's been a bunch of changes. First, it was the organic problem. So Facebook said, hey, we're not going to allow pages to clog up the newsfeed as much anymore. And we're going to make it about real connections and not so much about pages and business and things. And so they specifically changed it so that the algorithm basically made it that organic reach is, for the most part, dead. There are still post types that you can get organic reach on, but for the most part, when you're posting out there, it's getting shown to a small percentage of your Facebook page as a general rule. And it completely depends on your content types that you're putting out there. Absolutely, there's exceptions to this rule. But for the most part, and specifically with the veterinary practices that I've been seeing on Facebook, they've just been getting crushed. And so there's a few things that we're going to talk about that you can really do to help get that back up to where it was. The short answer is you're going to have to pay for it. And that's unfortunate, but that's the reality of it. Good news is you don't have to pay much still. It's still really, really affordable. So we're going to get into that here. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about what is happening right now with Mark Zuckerberg. He's testifying in front of Congress, how that affects us, and specifically the paid ad platform. We're going to also talk about, should you even be on Facebook? Does it still work? If so, what kind of content is working? And then what can you do specifically? I'm going to go through the steps of things that I see that are working really, really well for practices. So we're going to talk about content types, we're going to talk about diversification, and we're going to talk about owning your media, which is very, very important. I've talked about that a lot in the past, and I think it's more important than ever before. So let's get into it. So a few things. First, if you have noticed at all on Facebook, not on Facebook, but on the news, Mark Zuckerberg is testifying in front of Congress here coming up very soon. He's doing that because there was a data breach. A company called Cambridge Analytica was taking information, and basically the way that I understand it, that it worked, was that when you authorized certain third-party apps within Facebook, it took not only your information, but the information of all kinds of, all your friends list, contact information. You're granting all this ridiculous amount of permission so that they could get all kinds of information on you. And so that is a double-edged sword. So one thing is, people don't like having all of their information out there. And Facebook is getting really sophisticated, specifically within the ad types, that you can optimize your ads specifically for certain types of behaviors. And it uses, I don't know if it's AI or what, but it uses algorithms. It's not AI because there's no AI invented, but they call it, smart learning or machine learning rather. And basically the algorithms determine based on behaviors who is most likely to do certain things, like buy products, register for events, all kinds of things like that. Okay, so what basically people are saying is, and I thought this was probably going to just blow over. So there was a lot of people that were getting upset because the Russians, they were saying, were colluding in the election because they were putting out ads and fake news and all kinds of stuff out there. And they said that they were using the data that they got to basically incite the spread of false news. And so that's pretty much where this started from, is that they were saying, hey, there's Russian meddling happening, there's all kinds of fake news, there's all kinds of ads being put out there. And I really started to see a change back in September to the audiences. They started really adjusting things. So September of 2017, and when this is being recorded, it is the end of March 2018. So the changes I saw coming, I was wondering, is this just going to blow over? Is it going to get kind of just absorbed into the news cycle? New things will happen, and people will just kind of forget about it. It seems like that sometimes happens. Now, it doesn't seem like it's happening specifically with this. So as a result of this specific data breach, Facebook has changed their policies, how information is shared now, and where also they get the information sources. So specifically, it's relating to marketers and their ad platform. So in the past, the ad platform has been amazing. We had access to everything, and then they slowly started to take things away. And I think it was in October, I want to say. Yeah, I think it was the beginning of October. They started to take away things like job titles, where you could target specific job titles. And it seems like they started to take away a little bit more at a time, until just recently they took away audience sizes. So when you have a custom audience, you upload that audience. The number of people that have emails that are on Facebook, they're not telling you how many people are in that audience anymore. They're not telling you how many people are in pixel audiences, or I think you can still get engagement audiences, but they're probably going to change that. So now you're not going to know how many people are on that list. And that is a serious bummer, because you have no idea what your sample size is to test things. And so basically what's happened is that the gravy train of easy marketing days is slowly coming to an end. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just is. We have to work within the constraints of what we're given, basically. And we also have to expect that things are going to change constantly, because that's pretty much anything in internet marketing and digital marketing. So, I mean, everything changes within SEO constantly. Algorithm changes happen at, multiple times a week. It just changes all the time. New things are happening constantly. And so we just have to adjust to the rules that we're given now. So partner audiences are also gone too. And what that means is that these third-party companies that they were buying data from, so there was basically 3 big data companies, as well as other credit card companies and other partner companies that were giving a bunch of data to Facebook so that they could cross-reference and use all of this additional targeting. It was amazing, the stuff that you could find out. You could target people based on what month they bought homeowners insurance, and all kinds of stuff that Facebook would have no way of knowing except for these third-party data companies providing this stuff. So anyways, what that created was a platform that gave you just amazing targeting capabilities. And that's why I've loved Facebook so much. But at the same time, people don't want to have Facebook, reading all of their information and having no privacy. And so it seems like people have spoken. There's a movie that was called Minority Report with Tom Cruise, and it was basically like there was no crime because there was these psychics, and they could see crimes happen before they did, and then they would convict people before they committed the crime. And it was an interesting movie. But that's kind of what Facebook is going towards, where they know what you want to buy before you buy it. And there's actually an interesting story that Target was targeting this household. This guy kept seeing baby products, and he had a teenage daughter who was pregnant. He didn't know it, but based on the activities that were going on, I guess within search or some kind of demographic data, they were saying, hey, these guys are going to be have a baby in the house soon. So anyways, that's like, before you want something, Facebook is telling you, hey, you should check this out. And so I think that people are saying, you know what, we don't want that to happen. And there's a little bit of a revolt as it comes to just privacy. People want to have privacy. They don't want this huge machine constantly selling them stuff. And so I think in the long run, this is going to be good for the platform and for the users in general. But for marketers, we're bummed because now we have less ad choices and things. So we combine that, and I think it's only going to get worse as far as what kind of things and what kind of tools we have access to. I might suspect that in the future we may not be able to upload customer data into Facebook, but we'll have to see. At the minimum, I think what's going to have to happen is that we're going to have to verify that we own the list, that we've got it in an ethical way, and that we have permission to market to these people. And so that kind of takes away some of the liability for Facebook, but we'll see what happens there specifically with that. But that being said, there's a good chance that custom audiences are going to go away, I think. But we'll see. I do think, though, we will have access to data within Facebook natively. So that means when people watch certain videos, people engage on certain posts, people do activities inside of Facebook, I think they're going to keep that functionality because I don't think that creates any privacy issues. But I'm not an expert in this, but that's just kind of my guess in general. So we have those platform issues, plus we have on January 19th of 2018, they announced the algorithm change specifically for business pages so that you have the zero organic. So it's not a pretty picture, right? Things are not looking great for us as marketers on Facebook. But the kind of the first question that we're going to ask are, should you even be spending time and energy on Facebook? And I think the answer is yes. And the reason why I think that it's yes is because it's still affordable. It is still the place where your clients are spending time. And you can take clients right now and you have a unique opportunity to still target people, the current clients and all kinds of different things, and take that data and bring it offline as well. So create email lists or contact lists and then own that media. So we're going to talk about that. So there are certain types of things that are working well on Facebook right now for organic, and let's talk about a few of those. One great tool is specifically groups on Facebook. So if you wanted to create a group on Facebook, I think that you could do that. If you're a veterinary hospital, what kind of groups would work well? Well, I think that dog owner groups for local areas is something that would work well. So like dog friendly, like things to do in my town type of a thing, or dog owners in my town. And then you could just post content that was related to things to do that let you take dogs to. For example, that's a perfect list of people have dogs, which is your target audience, and then you're going to have a captive way to, every once in a while, on top of that content, you can sprinkle in an offer about events and specials going on at your practice. So that's something good. I don't think that you should use groups specifically in the way that you use your Facebook page where you're just posting content to it. You need to have engagement within the group members, otherwise it's not going to work. So that's a content type that's working well still. Another content type is live video. Live video still does better than all the other types of content for the most part. And so that's a good way to get in front of your clients. Another way is Facebook stories and Instagram stories. You can connect those together so that when you do post a story, it shows up in the top there. That's still something that's getting good engagement. And I think that if you're posting other kinds of content and you still have content, it needs to be valuable. You can't be posting crap to your Facebook page anymore. You can't be posting just for the sake of posting. So you need to be posting high quality content. And not only that, it needs to be segmenting and engaging. So people need to comment on it and join the conversation. And it also needs to be really related specifically to the services that you're offering, in my opinion. There's always time and place for engaging content that is just for fun too. I think you need to mix that in there. But I think for the most part, you got to really focus on local and content that's going to segment your audience so that you can then retarget them. So all of this awareness content that you're creating needs to really be for the sole purpose of remarketing offers to them, in my opinion. Engaging, stay in front of people, but also you need to be remarketing to all these lists of people, 100% for sure. So that is kind of what's working now, but you're still going to have trouble where your Facebook page fans are not seeing your content. And so you're going to have to start paying to get that content out there. So within the content that I'm helping with practices, and I'm seeing a ton of really good results for practices that are doing this, but basically what we do is every single post that we're putting out there, if it's awareness content, we are posting it and boosting it to a radius around the practice that's acceptable. And if it's a big enough market, we will do demographics of dog owners or cat owners. Sometimes it's not big enough, so we're just doing a specific radius. And every single post that gets out there gets boosted. And even with just $5 a day, it's making a huge difference. And so if at all possible, if you're going to put time and energy into building content, and I think that you have to be doing it to stay in front of your clients and grow your practice, you have to be posting it and boosting it. Now, the good news is that as frustrated as you are probably with your Facebook page, the practice, your competition, it is also just as frustrated and upset that their stuff is not getting put out there. And so, instead of going into a spiral of depression and being like, you know what, it doesn't even matter if I create great content, nobody's going to see it anyways. If you just do small boosts, get it out there, you're going to get additional organic growth, and also you're going to get that paid growth out there, and you're going to really start to build engagement, especially if you're getting likes and comments and shares. And so, anyways, I think that if you can, making high quality content is a must, and then boosting that out there. So once we have that kind of awareness content that's out there, the audiences that I'm using and that I'm seeing a lot of great success with is the engagement audiences. So creating custom audiences of people that are going to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, clicking, commenting, liking, just engaging, building that audience, and then showing those people offers once they are in. And so if you're doing open houses or events, those are the best lists as well within Facebook. The other thing that is very important within Facebook and doing paid ads and getting your most bang for your buck is optimizing for conversion actions. So when you are creating an ad, you can choose specifically what the objective is. If you notice, when you look at the ad platform, you go to ads.facebook.com, then you'll see that there's 3 columns. One is awareness, one is evaluation, and one is conversion. So that's kind of the different stages of the funnel. So when you're doing things you're trying to generate leads, or you're trying to get people to accept an offer, make sure that you're not just optimizing for clicks. Make sure that you're optimizing for conversion actions. And in order to optimize for conversion actions, you're going to need to install a conversion pixel on the confirmation page. So as I was talking earlier, Facebook is getting to the point where it's at the smart machines that are doing machine learning, and they are optimizing, and they know people's behavior based on what you've done in the past and tracking all kinds of data points that you probably wouldn't like them to be tracking, but they know a lot about you. That being said, if you are setting up for conversions, make sure you have that pixel with the conversion tag added to it. So if you go to Pixel Creator, and if you need help with this, please don't hesitate to reach out. It's a little bit complicated to describe, but if you just get the standard pixel and you put that on all your pages, you can set it up so that once they hit a certain page, it then is a conversion, right? So if they go to thank you page and it's a standard conversion page view, that is an audience that you're building. And so if that's your conversion goal, right, they go from your landing page to your conversion page, for example, and that page view pixel fires. And a pixel, by the way, if you're not familiar with that, I've got an episode in the past on it, is a pixel is a piece of JavaScript code that it just runs so that it tracks when somebody loads the page and then tracks the person who loaded that page. But if you're not not putting a specific conversion event in there, Facebook is not going to optimize for people that are more likely to do that conversion event. So that's kind of complicated, but just know that if you're sending just clicks and optimizing for clicks versus conversions, you're going to be paying way more for your marketing, and the ROI is going to be lower. So I hope that made sense. If it doesn't, please don't hesitate to reach out and send me a message. Happy to help on that. It's a little bit complicated. So setting up for conversion pixels, extremely important, something you have to do in this year moving forward. And Facebook is just going to get better and better at it. There's no question. It's just going to get better at predicting who's going to be a purchaser versus just a clicker, that kind of stuff. So moving forward, though, I think that a lot of people have put all of their eggs in the Facebook basket. And so that being said, I think it's really important that you're diversifying. So if you do have a really nicely built up audience on Facebook, make sure that you're diversifying to Instagram, which is also kind of in the same Facebook basket. So I'd say that they're right next to each other because Facebook owns Instagram. So their ad platform has the same issues that Facebook ads platform's having. I would make sure that your AdWords is going well. AdWords is still a great opportunity. And, for a lot of the practices that I manage AdWords for, we're seeing cost per clicks in the $1.90 to, at most $4 for a really competitive market. And it depends, again, on what kind of search volume we're targeting. But that's a really good cost per click. And a lot of times those clicks are actually phone calls. And so AdWords is amazing. If you're not doing AdWords, definitely look into it. It's transactional people who need help right away. So you can do all kinds of cool targeting. And, I should do a training on AdWords because they've really added a bunch of cool stuff. All kinds of new features that are awesome. So make sure that you're diversifying there. So I said Instagram, AdWords, Snapchat if you're into Snapchat, if that's a demo that is going to be, if people that are in your practice are using Snapchat, that's a good one. YouTube is not going anywhere. It's very difficult for practices to kind of break out, I think, on YouTube, especially on a local audience. But if you have people that like your Facebook page, you can drive them to YouTube. And then I think email is one of the still most underutilized traditional marketing channels that you have. And I love email because you own the list. Nobody can take that away from you. And so if you can convert your Facebook fans into an email list, that's really awesome. So I have a bunch of ideas on how to do that. I think I'm going to do a training specifically inside of my Facebook group, Veterinary Marketing Nerds. So if you're not a member of that group, be sure to go in there and sign up for that, okay? Other things that you can do. What are other kinds of content that you can create? So I think in-person events are great. Drive people to in-person events if you have meetups specifically. And another great medium that you can use is podcasts too, just like this. So podcasts are a way to get in front of people on a consistent basis when they subscribe to the podcast on their phone, either their Android device or their iPhone. You're popping up as a push notification, so podcasts are great. I'm also going to be doing a training on how to create a podcast for your veterinary practice. There are tons of tools that are so cool now. It makes it so easy. Production time is gone. Hosting fees are gone. It really helps to lower the barrier to entry to getting into podcasting. So content is what's going to keep you in front of people. It's going to be what keeps you relevant. And so you need to be creating content. It's time to step up your content game. But it's going to be more difficult to get organic growth. But if you can, budget a little bit, and it doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit every day, you're going to see some really big, I think, wins for your veterinary practice. So let's just recap really quick here as we finish up here. First, I think that Facebook, the golden days of Facebook ads are gone, unfortunately, where it was the Wild West. You could do anything you wanted to do. And I think that's okay, though, because we're going to have more responsibility. And I think it's going to be good in general. There is problems, so both with paid and organic, but you can get around those problems by doing boosts. And I think that for veterinary practice and local businesses, doing a strict radius boost with demo ads, for example, adding dog owners or cat owners, I think that those are good. If you don't have a big enough audience, then go for just a strict radius, because statistically speaking, about 50% of America owns a pet, or in the U.S., it depends on your country if you're listening in another country, but there's a high percentage of pet owners, and so just going by radius, you're going to have typically a high success rate. So across that, there's a few different types of content that are still working well to get organic engagement. It's groups, live video, and stories. And then, what should you do in the future? Should you be spending time? Yes, you should be spending time creating content, but you need to diversify. So build up your Instagram, continue to do AdWords if you're not doing AdWords, do email, do YouTube, do podcasts, just create content, stay in front of your clients, and get them the engagement that they're looking to get. So I hope that this was helpful today for you. If you have any questions, I know we went over a lot in a short amount of time here. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help, happy to answer questions, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. Again, the best place to send me a message is on my Facebook page. If you haven't liked that, be sure to do that, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast in iTunes and Google Play. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on next week's episode.